is Reed Oldenburg. I'm the athletic director here at East Troy High School. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy days, your busy schedules, some of you taking off from work. I really, really appreciate it. The Life of an Athlete program that we have here at East Troy High School is a really important part of our athletic program as a whole. Today we're going to go over a couple changes in our code of conduct. Mrs. Dodge is going to talk about what it means to be a healthy athlete, and then we're going to get on out of here. Okay, so when you came in the door, hopefully you grabbed a copy of the different pieces of paper up there. If you didn't, that's okay. They'll still be up there at the end. The first one is just a Booster Club membership form. Okay, so we're going to have Joey Hymos talk about that in a little bit. The second one is new this year. So this is a new form that every athlete needs to fill out if they want to seek attention from our athletic trainer, which I would guess a big majority of our student athletes will see Macy, our athletic trainer, at some point in time throughout the season. Okay, so this is a form that she needs to have filled out in order for you to get some attention from her. Okay, so if this form's not on file with her, she's not going to be able to work with your son or daughter. So this is a really important form. There's insurance information on it. I don't need this form today. If you have your insurance card with you and you want to fill it out today, by all means, that's fine. I will take it, but you can turn it into our main office at any point in time. But this is something that will need to be done prior to your son or daughter seeing our athletic trainer. Okay. The third one is just a sports physical, some information. There's physicals that is happening, I believe, a week from yesterday at the Aurora Clinic here in East Troy. So this is just some information for you if you still need to have a sports physical. That needs to be updated every 2 years. So if you had one last year, there's an alternative physical form that will need to be filled out as well. But this is if you need to go get your physical. And then the last one is our code of conduct. There are some changes in this code of conduct that I will be going over, most specifically with the transition to trimesters at our high school. Okay? All right, so our goals for our Life of an Athlete program is we want to make sure that everybody is knowledgeable, that you're understanding of why we have this program that we have. It's not just academics, it's not just drinking, it's a whole collective program for our student athletes that deals with nutrition, it deals with sleep patterns, it deals with drugs and alcohol. It really is an all-encompassing program. We want to work with you, the student athletes, and the parents. Okay, without the parents being involved in this, without the parents going home on the weekends or after a game or a contest and talking to the kids, this program really is not going to be as successful as it could be. It's really important that the parents are sitting down and talking with your son or daughter about the dangers of some of the things that they are seeing in their everyday lives. Off the top of my head, the big one is vaping. That is a huge, huge, huge problem within our community, within every community. Mrs. Dodge will talk about it a little more in detail. We have our Trojan Committed group, which is our student-led athlete group that talks to middle schoolers about it. But really the vaping or the juuling, whatever word you want to call it, is being directed at the young kids today. Okay, middle schoolers, high schoolers, that is who they are selling to. As much as they want to say we're trying to get people off of smoking, that's great, but it's smoke and mirrors. That's not, their objective is to make money. So they make it look really fancy, they make it look really fun, and they're selling it to the youth. There have been more and more studies coming out about vaping and the links to epilepsy, the links to cardiac arrest. There's a lot of things in those little jewel pods that they have that don't need to be put on there or hidden dangers for your son or daughter. So it's just really important to have those conversations with your kids. We do have programs of excellence here. Within my 10 years, this is my 10th year at East Troy, I've seen a ton of individual state champions, I've seen team championships, I've seen a lot of great things here. And year in and year out, we are at the top of Rock Valley. In fact, last year, East Troy, for the first time that I've been here, won the Rock Valley Overall Award of Excellence, which is, it comes down to all the sports. They take an average of the sports finishes, have a point system on it, and we beat McFarland, which McFarland They always win. They have 250 more kids than every other school. So that is outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. And that's attributed to your sons and daughters who put in a lot of time and hard work. So that is outstanding. So some things for the student athletes that you need to be aware of, and most of you are, is these are all responsibilities that ultimately come back to you. In high school, you are responsible for yourself. It's not your mom, or it's not your dad, it's not your guardian, it's not the teachers, it's ultimately you. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do to be able to go out and compete and put that East Troy jersey on. You have a lot of kids that come and watch you, that look up to you, that want to be you someday. They want to put that football jersey on a Friday night. They want to make that game-winning basket, a buzzer beater at the end of the basketball game. They want to be like you. You have a lot of kids looking up to you. So make sure that you're aware of that. Make sure you are setting a good example for those kids. It really is a lifestyle. It's not coming to this LOA meeting, and I hear it all the time, and I understand it, but I have 3 sons or daughters. This is my 9th year coming to this thing. I get that, and that's a valid point, but it's all really important information. The information that we give every single year, we try to change. There's some base stuff that we keep the same, but there's new information every single year. There's new dangers every single year that we're seeing, okay? But again, it's not just sitting here for 45 minutes and leaving. It is really a lifestyle choice that you need to make as a family. Some perceptions that I wanted to go over that we see here at East Troy High School. This was taken at the end of the school year this year. During the past 30 days, how many days did you have at least one drink? 289 kids said they did not have a drink in the last 30 days. That's an outstanding number, okay? 37 said they had a drink within the last 1 or 2 days. And then, as you can see all the way down, 4 is every single day they had a sip of alcohol, okay? This is an anonymous survey, so the results are pretty accurate, all right? I love that number. That's an outstanding number to have, but I want to see that number get bigger. I don't want to have 4 kids tell me anonymously that they've been drinking every single day for the last 30 days. That's really scary. I don't want to have 37 kids tell me that they had a drink, 1 or 2 weekends within the last 30 days. I would love to see zeros across the board and have that number be a big number. During the past 30 days, how many times did you use marijuana? Again, that 315, that's 0 times. That's a great, great number. That's the number we want to see, but again, seven kids said that they smoked 40 plus times in the last 30 days. That is terrifying. Again, this is a perception. Agree or disagree that illegal drugs are a problem at your school. It's hard to see on the bottom, but the far right, 40, is strongly agree. So they strongly agree that drugs and alcohol are a problem. 78 is agreed, 157 is I don't know, and then 56 and 21 are strongly disagree. Okay? Now if we look back at the past slides, we can see that it's not this overwhelming, there's not a quarter of us that are smoking or drinking. There's a smaller percentage, okay? But our school thinks otherwise. So it's kind of interesting to look at that information and know that the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. Have you talked to one of your parents about the dangers of tobacco, drugs, and alcohol? This is the one that I really would like to see a huge increase on, okay? 162 said, yes, my parents do. 127 said, no, they do not. And 53 of them were too tired to answer and said, I can't remember. Okay. But that 127, that's pretty definitive. No, my parents don't talk to me about that. I would like that number much, 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 much lower. I'd love that number to be 0. Parents, it's really important that you're talking to your sons and daughters about drugs, about alcohol, about vaping, about THC and gummies, about everything that is coming at them 100 miles an hour. Okay, it's really important to go over all those dangers that they're being exposed to on a regular basis. So parents, that's some ownership on you. Okay, we are here for 45 minutes. You are there for a lifetime. So please continue to educate them. If you have any questions about anything, please feel free to email myself or Mrs. Dot. She is a guru when it comes to this stuff. And with that, I'm going to hand it on over to Mrs. Dot.
taking your time out to come here today. I want to get you in a good mindset. I'm going to tell you this. This 45 minutes will save you hours and hours. Because if you and your child are on the same page, listen, follow the code, meet the grade, you don't have to be in there hours telling Mr. Oldenburg, we were not informed. Because that's what we see happen. This is our attempt to get the message out to you. If you believe in it, this is your booster shot. The first inoculation was when you were a freshman. These are our standards. This is what we're going to do as we go forward. I do have some things from the Power Back Diet that are here for you to take. I love what this one says on the bottom. It says, athletes who are in tune with their body needs are much more likely to be successful, enjoy competing to their full potential. There is not a coach in here, Mr. Lindau would not look at his tennis players and say, hey, you know what? If you're at 50%, you can still win most of the time. That will never come out of his mouth. Coach K in softball, hey, you know what? If you kind of work, maybe we'll kind of win. That's not what we're here about. It's valuable time. So let's go. Let's talk about nutrition. And if you're thinking, do all kids get this? Yes. A lot of this is from our health class. The Power Back Diet is easily accessible to you. The one sheet that the other sheet talks about immediate nutrition after you work out. What do you want? Within 5 minutes of working out. And this one talks about snacks that you can have in your locker because athletes get hungry. Especially if you're going to early bird PE, or you're working out before you go to school on your own, or you're working out after school, having access to good quality nutrition is super important. You cannot out-train a bad diet. And East Troy athletes work hard. I've seen it firsthand for, 15 years. I think I've been here 15 years. And there are kids that really buy into it. There are kids that go into the weight room thinking they'll get strong by osmosis, and they sit there and watch, maybe thinking of working hard. But you cannot out-train a bad diet. All food energy is not created equal. If by chance I walk upon a table of basketball players and there is Rice Krispie treats, Pop-Tarts, and the 46 sugar gram lemonade, is there any nutritional value in that? Chase, is there any nutritional value in that? No. No. And unfortunately, these boys have been victim to my cafeteria duty where I'll come over and I'll say, show me the nutrition in that. How are you gonna go to practice on Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispies, and lemonade? So, here it is. Power Back Diet. We're talking about carbs being your main energy source. Most people think that it's gotta be pasta. No. It can be vegetables. It can be fruit. All right? But Pop-Tarts are not one of those things. Okay? Carbo load. Real food. Whole wheat. The Power Back Diet that is online, and the two biggest sheets are right here, is something that's part of our Life Athlete program. It'll not only improve your performance, it will keep you from getting injured. It'll make you come back from an injury faster. It's all about building after we break down. How many football players are in here? Okay, super important you get this information. Come August, when does it start, Brady?
First practice is August 5th.
August 5th. It's right around the corner. And you're going to get acclimated in the heat. What are you going to do after you're done? Okay? These are some things, because you're going to be tearing your body down in that weight room. What are you going to do after you leave? That's super important. Okay? If you choose to ignore the importance of nutrition, your recovery between workout reduces, and the quality of your training. So, this is always just something for everybody's nutritional knowledge. Most people get 1,800 to 2,500 calories in a day. Growing boys, I always say Michael Phelps on a high training day needed 10,000 calories. Most people need about 2,000 calories. Where should you be getting it from? Well, there it is. There's your little pie chart. 55 to 60% should be your vegetables, your pasta, your real food options for quick energy. That's our quick energy source. Fat should be around 20 to 30%. That's where most people get protein and fat mixed up. But we want good fats. oils, okay? Not saturated fat, more oils. And then the last part is your protein, 12 to 15%. And the quality, different quality proteins are out there. That's in your Power Back diet. You can look at that. And by the way, if you have any questions at any time, just please raise your hand. Okay. So protein, where are some of my best sources? We have fish, whey, chocolate milk, cheese, cottage cheese. Some of those things are in those two handouts I was talking about. And then second and third place are just a little higher in saturated fat. They are not as healthy for you from a protein source standpoint. How much protein does an athlete need? Include some kind of protein at each meal. Keep in mind the human body can only utilize about 30 grams of protein at a time. So sitting down and having this giant steak, your body can't absorb more than 30 grams. So what I would like to see when I walk up to that table of girls basketball players is, do you have some form of protein in the term of nuts, okay, or milk, okay? Inadequate intake of protein or inferior sources, such as carbs, lead to use of protein as a fuel instead of growth and repair. So what that's saying is if you don't eat enough carbs, then you start using your protein for an energy source, which dehydrates you, and that's why a lot of athletes will get injured. Okay, so we want to always have a steady source of carbs. If you leave remembering one thing is this: if you choose to eat a highly processed diet, throw some real food into your diet and then take a B complex. Because what real food you're eating, that B complex will allow you to use it to the fullest. And in this day of we're busy, can't always sit down and make a really good meal, a B complex vitamin will really help your student athlete. Especially people that have to limit their calories, like wrestlers and people like pole vaulters that have to minimize their calories. Okay, you want to get the most out of your calories. B complex is where it's at. Okay. So here comes the drug and alcohol aspect. What alcohol will do is raise an athlete's diuretic hormone, which in turn causes them to urinate. Water-soluble vitamins like B complex then are now urinated out, and athletes cannot take full benefit of their nutrition from their food. Most people don't know that when you go on a binge drink, not even a binge drink, you drink 2 or 3 beers, the body is affected for 72 hours after that. 72 hours. If you are using marijuana, even occasionally, the residual effects of THC never really leave your body. And if you combine the two, you're having an impact on over 14 parts of your teenage brain. Hydration, 32%, you dehydrate, you lose 10. The only thing you should drink like water is water. And I had a teacher come in and say, I think it was the first time I looked across and not every kid, but anybody who was drinking something had water on their desk. And it wasn't, a giant soda. It was, for student athletes, it's just not a good way to take in your calories. And over at the school, we have a nice place to get that rehydrated with our bubblers, so it should not be a problem. Great food options. Again, these are here. You want to take a look at those. And this is post-workout eating considerations. Something, you say Gatorade, Ms. Studd, you say that's flat soda. The small Gatorades are fine. Or if you have a bigger one, split it with a friend and then fill it the rest up with water. There is a lot of sugar in Gatorade, so just be aware. That's on this worksheet, or this handout. After 5 minutes of a workout, drinking 4 to 6 ounces of a fruit punch or Gatorade, just start refueling your body because it just depleted of carbs. Step 2, take in some chocolate milk that has protein to help you recover. And then 2 handfuls of raisins. Again, it's just helping your body recover from that breakdown. If you do not buy into this, it's almost worse that you are even working out because you're not helping your body get back to where it was before it started. Do not underestimate the importance of recovery fuel, okay? And you can see it. People, student athletes that don't believe in it, towards the end of the year, their productivity just isn't as high anymore. So I know the volleyball program, we have these things accessible to our girls, especially after 2 days when they're lifting and then they're training hard in the gym. We have this for them. Okay. So, thank you. If you have any questions about this, please do not forget about these because I know sometimes out of sight, out of mind. 2 easy things to access for you and your student athlete.
All right, so now we're going to get into our code of conduct. I'm going to highlight some things that were new last year, but it's still relatively new, and then a couple new things that are really important, especially for the athletes in this room. But again, it's very important that the reason why we're here is so that you guys are fully understanding of what's expected to you as a student athlete. First thing I want to talk about is, in my opinion, this is one of the most difficult things to expect out of you as a student athlete, and it's the honesty clause. But it's something that we expect from you. We expect if you are at a party or you are at a location and you go there with the best intentions and somebody shows up with a vape pen, with a case of beer, with marijuana, with whatever that is against our code of conduct, the expectation is A, that you get out of there as soon as possible, B, you take as many friends, but then C, tell somebody. You need to tell somebody. And that's really, 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 really difficult to do as a student athlete. It's difficult to go home and tell your parents, I was at a party and so-and-so brought some pot or whatever it is, okay? But you need to let your parents know, and then you need to let a trusted adult at the school know. Fortunately, there's a lot of those at the high school. It doesn't need to be me, it doesn't need to be Mrs. Dodge or Mrs. Keene, but it needs to be a trusted adult at the high school, and they'll know to pass that information on to myself and Mrs. Keene. But the reason why you need to do that is not only for the protection of you, okay, you need to be protected, because if you're at a party and somebody shows up, and just as that person shows up, somebody takes a Snapchat photo, and then it's on Snapchat, and then somebody shares with me a Snapchat story that so-and-so posted, and you're in the background with somebody vaping. If that's the case, you are in the presence of an illegal substance. You would be suspended for a quarter of the season or 50% of the season, whatever it might be, because you were in the presence of an illegal substance, okay? However, if that same scenario happens, you go home, you tell Mom, so-and-so came to the party, they started vaping, I got out of there right away, and I took Sarah, Bill, and Tommy with me. Then your mom or dad or whomever or you can email a parent, email a teacher or a coach, or call and leave a voicemail and just say, just so you know, my daughter was at so-and-so's house last night. They were there, and then somebody decided they wanted to start vaping. Okay? And they left right away. They did everything great. That way, if that photo ever does come to me, I can have it on record that you were there, you notified me, you said, I got out of there. That's really important. But the second thing is the health and well-being of those people that are in there, that are taking part of those things, okay? Because I can't tell you, I can't predict the future, but I have no idea what vaping is going to do to somebody in 10 years from now. The studies are already crazy. Vaping's been around maybe 5 years or so, and what we're finding out already about the dangers of that is scary, okay? Absolutely terrifying. I don't want to go to any of your funerals, kids. I don't. It's not something that I would ever want to do. But the fact of the matter is, we don't know what's going to happen with this stuff. Okay, we just do not know. But that honesty clause is really, really important. But I'm here to tell you that's very difficult, and I get that. So make sure you have a good connection with somebody, with an adult at the high school, whether or not that's your coach or one of your favorite teachers, or myself, or Mrs. Keene. It's really, really important that you speak up and you're being honest about something that you may see, okay? So new academic expectations. This is really important. Kids, if you are toning me out right now, put up the ears because you really need to hear this, because this is going to be completely different from what you have seen in the past. Without raising your hands, how many of you had at one point in time 2 or more Fs. I don't want to see a raise of hands, okay? I don't need to know that. But if you're thinking to yourself, yeah, there was a point in time in a grade check that I had 2 or more Fs, this is really, really important, okay? So in years past, East Troy High School had a school-enforced academic code of conduct where we had our grade checks at 6 weeks, 9 weeks, 15 weeks, whatever, so on and so forth, 12 weeks, I skipped that one, okay? The non-quarter grade checks, so week 6, week 12, and week 15, those were all enforced by us. That gave me a lot of leeway to say, go see your teacher, see if you can get a test in, see if you can get your grade up. That's because that was enforced by us, okay? The WIAA enforces quarterly grade posts or quarterly academic expectations. That is not enforced by me, and that is a very strict policy. So, moving forward to our trimesters. Our trimester grade checks, which happens in the middle of the trimester, is essentially a quarter grade. Okay, when you look at a trimester, you split it in half, it's half a trimester. That's really your quarter grade for that course. If you, at 3:30 on grade post day number 1, have 2 or more Fs, at 3:30, you are academically ineligible. There is not, oh, well, I turned a test in today at 3:27 and Miss K didn't get it in. She didn't get it in the grade book. I know Miss K loves when people come down to her classroom. I know every teacher loves that. No, they don't, okay? So at 3:30, if you have 2 or more Fs in the grade book, there is no flexibility, 0. It's not something that I enforce, it's something that the WIA enforces. If I were to say, you know what, go talk to that teacher, let's see if we can work something out, and somebody from Whitewater found out, or somebody from Clinton, or somebody from wherever, one of our rivals found out that we're giving you this flexibility and we're breaking WIA rules, we could be eliminated from tournament play. That's not something I want, okay? So we will be following the WIA rules and that academic code of conduct, but we will not be having those additional grade checks. So it's really just that mid-trimester grade check, which is essentially your quarter grade, okay? So kids, at 3:30 on the day of a grade post, it's 3:30 the day of the grade post. Really, really, really important to know that. I can tell you that I'm really happy for this. It makes my life easier because there's nothing worse than saying, you know, talk to the teacher, and then the teacher gets mad at me, and then parents get mad because the kids are mad, and then parents are mad because teachers are mad. It's terrible. I hate grade check day. It's the worst, okay? So make sure that you are on top of your grades, that you know where you're at, and if you don't have something in by 3:30 on that day, you're out of luck, and there's nothing that's going to happen, okay? So this is really, really important because it's going to be very, very different for some of you. Unfortunately, there's been grade posts where I've called down 25, 30 students because they've had 2 or more Fs, okay? So make sure that you're on top of your grades. It's really, really important. Presence at a party. I kind of went over this. I don't want to continue to talk about this, but if you are at a party, whether or not intentional or not intentional, but you are there and there's something illegal going on that you didn't know was going to get out of there, okay? If you are there and you decide to stay there, and that's your choice, you are breaking our code of conduct. And if you are turned in or if somebody finds out, you would be suspended for a quarter of the season. Now, Mrs. Dodge and myself and our coaches, we're not naive to think that everybody in here goes or doesn't go to a party where something happens. I know that it happens, okay? But make sure that we're getting out there, okay? Even if you're there and you have the best intentions, you don't drink, you don't do anything, if that picture comes to me and you're there without drinking, without vaping, without doing whatever, but if you're there, you're against our code of conduct, okay? So get out of there. Don't put yourself in that position, okay? Violations, nothing new here. First one, for drugs, alcohol related is 25%. Second one is 50%. Third one, you're not eligible to be on any athletic team here at East Troy High School. Okay? For your first and second one, you also have counseling sessions with one of our school counselors. Some penalties. This is new to last year, but I want to echo it again since it is relatively new. So if you choose to serve the suspension in a new sport, Okay, you must fully complete that sport. You can't just serve the 25% and then say, okay, I'm done with volleyball. You call it quits if you're a basketball player and that's your favorite sport. So you have to serve that full sport through the end of the season. The second one, which is new, you'll not be allowed to be team captain for one calendar year. Okay, so if May 15th comes around and I'm busted at a friend's graduation party or whatever, I can't be a team captain for one calendar year. And even though it's May 15th, I'm assuming that coach isn't going to come up to you your senior year on May 15th and say, congratulations, the year's over, you are now a captain. That's not going to happen. So you're out for that team captain for one whole year. Some more things is that you are not eligible for a nomination for all conference. Okay, so you might be the conference best center or wide receiver or whatnot, but if you had a code of conduct violation, you cannot be put up for all conference. And that can be very damning if you are a high-end athlete and you're not up for that, you can't be put up for those other awards as well. Okay, so these are all really important. Team awards as well, most valuable player, those things you can't be awarded. Okay, so that is it for me. 34 minutes. I think that's pretty good. Before we leave, I'm going to have Jody Hymos come on up and talk about our booster club for a few minutes. And then, if I know I see a couple coaches in here, if coaches can go over to the table over here, we'll be handing out our yellow code of conduct. Coach Judd has that over there, but it's our yellow code of conduct signature form. So before you leave, please grab and return one. Don't walk out the door with this because we won't be collecting these outside. So sign and return it. If you have a son or daughter that went to our last meeting, but you emailed me and said you could only come to this one, just sign it, but don't put your son or daughter's name, and vice versa. If you emailed me and said my parents aren't here, but I am and they're going to get it later, don't sign your parents off. Okay, so leave that part blank. Okay? All right, thank you very much.
My name is Jody Hymos. I'm here to represent the Sports Boosters Club. 3 kids and, well, 2 now, in East Troy. My daughter just graduated and we played softball at St. Norbert. We got a kid somewhere around here who's baseball, football, and then a 6-year-old who we have no idea what he's going to do with his life yet. Probably drawing. So the Sports Booster is a group of parents, teachers, community members that support all athletics in East Troy. In the past 5 years, the Booster Club has raised $100,000. A couple things are sideline covers for the football field, outdoor bleachers, a touchscreen computer in the lobby outside the main gym, sod for the baseball fields, a trophy and plaque display cases, donation towards tennis court wall, that type of stuff. They also sponsor the Senior Sports Banquet, which happens every spring, where senior athletes whose parents are involved in the booster program will be invited to a dinner, and every student who's played at least one sport and has been in the booster club will receive a plaque noting what sport they played in the years that they participated. Also, one of the big things that the booster club does is provide scholarships for graduating seniors. I don't remember last year how many kids got the scholarship, but they gave over $5,500 last spring to 11 athletes for college as they went off. So that's a good positive thing. However, all these things are great, but to be part of this booster club and to actually receive the benefit from it, it requires you guys to become members. There is a little sheet over there that says annual membership drive. If you have one, great. Very, very inexpensive. It's $10 for the year to be part of the booster club, $50 for a lifetime membership. If you have more than, say, one child in school, might as well spend the $50 and have the lifetime membership and get your name on a plaque. It's pretty nice. So that's available for you, and that covers you for the rest of the time. All right. So by being a member, that helps fund the donations that we provide to the sports, but also we have other ways of fundraising. We have collecting Frank's Piggly Wiggly card receipts. And you can drop those off, or your child can drop them off by the main office over there at the school, or at Martin's Hardware. They have a receptacle over there you can drop it in. We also We help at the 4th of July celebration for the Lions Club, and we get money for that. And then we also sell concessions at the cheer clinics and that type of thing. But our biggest fundraisers are the community sponsor for the Fall in Sports program. So people will go out and fundraise and have people advertise in our sports program. And the biggest one, I think the most fun, as the football concession guy here, is concession stand. It's personally, I think it's fun for some reason. Maybe I'm a sadist, I don't know, or masochist, I guess would be. But the concessions are a lot of fun. If your child's in soccer, for example, and they're on JV, feel free to volunteer to work concessions for the varsity game, so you can watch your child play their sport, or vice versa. It's not that hard to do. You get to meet a lot of the community members, get to meet a lot of the great kids in East Troy, and have a little fun. For your child to be recognized or eligible for that scholarship, it does require that you, first of all, be a Booster Club member. You have to be active, and that means paying your dues by March 1st, and either work 2 concession stand shifts or attend 2 meetings at the high school to be eligible for that during the school time. So the meetings are not that bad, a half hour to 90 minutes depending on what's on the topics. The unfortunate part, the sad part, I guess, is that out of all the leadership positions, the board position, only one person on that board actually has a child that's active in the high school. Everybody else has, well, one's Reed, he doesn't really count. And then the other 2 are Debbie Hodges, whose kids graduated 4 years ago, whatever, and then Rosemary Martin, who 22 years and counting. So they volunteer to be on it because they support the program, they support the kids. We do need participation by parents to come to it. And usually when I go, it might be the 4 board members and maybe 3 to 5 parents at the most. If you want to be involved in your child's life and know what's going on, it's a good place to start. There's over 600 students in East Troy High School, and over half of them are athletes. So that's fantastic for like what we were talking about, our accomplishments. But if they want to keep getting the quality benefit from the boosters, it requires your participation. Highly recommend that you guys would kindly fill out the Sports Booster Club, pay the $10 annually or your $50 lifetime membership and join the Boosters Club. Once again, not that hard to do, and it's great for the school. They get a lot of good things without taxing the school for it and that kind of stuff. Any questions? Fantastic. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much.